Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here. I am doing, hello, you can see my eyes here. I'm doing an unboxing for the Bayonetta Amiibo. I got both of them today. I picked them up, I pre-ordered them, I don't know how many months ago from Best Buy, but they finally came out today. I believe it is the 21st. They finally came out same day as Splatoon 2. I wish I could have picked that up, but I don't have a Switch yet, so unfortunately I wasn't doing like a cool Nintendo bundle deal. But the Splatoon 2 Amiibo are out for anyone who may or may not be interested in that. I have to pick those up once I actually get a Nintendo Switch and I'm able to get Splatoon 2. But for now, I got the Amiibo for one of my favorite characters in gaming in general. I was super happy when she got put into Smash Brothers because I love Bayonetta. And, you know, I love the fact that they made two versions of her because, of course, this version right here, which is actually the Player 2 Amiibo version, this is from, of course, Bayonetta, just the original first game. And then this is what they use as basically her default costume for Smash Brothers because at that point, Bayonetta 2 had come out, so this was like the default costume, and then you could switch to this, which is why, even though this is the original, this is the default costume for Smash Brothers, so that's why this one's Player 2. So we are actually going to start with the very first one since it's from the first game. But just to give you guys a quick look at the back here, it's the same thing for both of them except they're attacking a different character. Bayonetta is kicking Little Mac, which I don't know how I feel about that because Little Mac is still my favorite character. I love Bayonetta more as a game character, but you know, I just love Little Mac. In this one she's fighting Captain Falcon. Yeah, so being him, I don't give a crap about him, so that's totally fine with me. But that's the back, of course. It's just the normal thing. Go up to level 50, all that extra stuff. No big deal. Just to kind of get a quick glance at them inside their actual boxes, and of course the picture of her from the original game, and Bayonetta 2, and a picture of her from the second game. And as you can see, it says like Player 2 at the top there. So that's really the only difference, you know. It's pretty much like any other Amiibo box. They're exactly the same with the character images and stuff like that. But we're gonna get into this very first one, and of course I'm just gonna rip these out because that was for me. You know, I don't collect them and leave them in the box. I don't know how many people do that and leave the Amiibo in the box. It's not like other figures to me. Like I wanted to, take them out and have a spot to kind of mess around with them. But just to zoom all the way in. And I still have to put it up much closer for you guys. But here she is with, like all the crazy, it's basically mid-motion for both figures, which I actually like. For anyone who may or may not be familiar with Bayonetta, or definitely for anyone who's not familiar with her, her entire outfit is actually her hair. So all of this right here, this giant thing, that's all hair. This right here, all of that, that's all hair. Her entire outfit, like the whole black costume, is all hair. The only thing that's not hair that's attached to her is like this red ribbon and zooming in on my shirt, but these right here, I can't even think of the actual name of those. And of course the guns themselves are not a part of her hair either, but she's a witch and that's kind of like her whole power. So for anyone who may be like, what the F is her deal? If you don't know the character from the games, that's why she has like giant fists come out, and that's why you may or may not notice for people who pay attention. Basically, like the outfit shrinks, it becomes less and less because it starts from the bottom and it goes up. So, that's kind of how that's set up. It's an interesting figure. Mine, I just realized, actually has like a little bit of a weird thing to it. I don't know how well this is actually going to show up, but right here, that's hardly going to show up at all, but like you can kind of see how it looks weird. It's so tiny on the little screen I'm trying to see, and hopefully you guys can see it, but it's basically not like 100% attached. Like you can kind of see the spacing in there, like it's not kind of locked into place like it should be for mine. So hopefully that doesn't happen with you guys, but that's my issue. I'll see what the deal is with that, if I can, how that may or may not work. I'll have to check out some other unboxings for these to see if that's just a common issue, which I hope it's not, because that would just suck, because that's just shoddy in general. But other than that, I think this is definitely really cool. I am happy that I bought it for sure. It's very interesting. Like, the one thing about this that I noticed when I first got them is that because Bayonetta is such a stylized character, there's actually less detail in this, I noticed, than some of the other Amiibo that I've gotten, because I have the original 3 Splatoon Amiibo, I have the Little Mac Amiibo, and then I have the Wolf Link Amiibo from Twilight Princess HD when that came out, like the special edition for it. And I noticed with this, with it being like her full character and her not being designed for Smash Brothers, which they're, of course, none of the characters technically were designed for Smash Brothers, but with her character being so over the top as far as, like her stylish design, it's interesting to see her in the amiibo form where it's like, that's interesting, like there's so much to her character. I noticed that there are spots where I'm like, I do definitely wish there was more detail, but I don't think it's bad overall. Like, they're just spots, like the guns themselves, I think could use a tiny bit of work, but also, it's like, it's her whole body, and the guns, of course, are smaller, so the smaller something is, the harder it is to get all that epic detail in there. So it's that, simple sort of thing. I do love the fact that they gave her, like, the little stands here. This was the first time I'd ever seen this. I've seen other amiibos since, like, this one was announced that have the little foot stands as well. And I love that idea. It just gives them a little bit extra form, because literally, like, if you see her design, obviously her legs are spread out pretty far. So it's like, all right, well, let's put these little bases here so that we can still have that design. Like, her feet, both her feet are like completely off, and I think that's actually a really cool idea. And I saw one today. I want to say it was the female Corrin version that has it as well, because she has like one of her feet kind of like arched up, and I just thought that was a cool idea. So I definitely like this for sure. I'm looking forward to, kind of inspecting the next one. But, of course, want to know what you guys think about this one, so let me know down in the comments below how you guys feel about this, especially if you're a big fan of Bayonetta as far as the main game. Highly recommend it. If you've never played Bayonetta, please go buy Bayonetta, because it's freaking great. And, of course, if it weren't for Nintendo, we wouldn't have a Bayonetta 2, and it's an absolutely phenomenal game. It's a great sequel. It's better than the first. So, highly recommend you guys check it out, but I think this is definitely a good purchase. Of course, all the amiibo, same price and everything. So it's really just, if you like the character, the amiibo are worth it. So I think this one's worth it. And we are going to move on to Bayonetta 2. Get her off to the side here. And once again, I'm just going to rip right through this because I don't really care. Because they are going to have some random place inside the house. Probably lined up next to Little Mac or something like that. I have to figure it out. I'm actually starting to get a legitimate collection now, so I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Pop her out of here. And I'm actually going to kind of start where I ended with the last figure, but we're going to go straight back to the little bases. So once again, we have, here, if it'll zoom in perfectly on that, we got the little clear bases again, and this one's even crazier because she's like almost charging forward. If you can kind of see it that way, like her figure's going forward instead of kind of the sideways stance. So I actually like that. I think that's really cool. Once again, both feet are basically like completely off. You're gonna look at it from the bottom. It'll zoom in on the actual part I want you to see right there. So it's interesting. I definitely like that for sure. The thing with the guns, as far as the design, maybe it's just the color, but I think the guns look better on this one. I guess it's just a bit easier, to kind of pull off that, the right color of blue, because with the guns, I think they're a little too bright, and they are actually pink in the main game, but it's just one of those things where it's like, something about it, they just look, a smidge off, honestly, with that first amiibo. And this one, I actually think they have it down. Technically, this is, a little bit darker, but I don't know, maybe with it being blue versus pink, a slightly different shade of blue is much simpler to, kind of get past than, like, a different shade of pink, which is kind of odd to say because I'm much more familiar with the color blue, so it's like I can easily recognize how different it is, but for some reason it really stands out with the pink guns, where it's like it just seems slightly off. And maybe it's the fact that in both games the weapons are very reflective, and it seems like these are much more reflective, to me at least, kind of just looking at them like that. So I don't know, for some reason I like the guns on this one a bit more. I think they just look better. I definitely like the pose that they have for her, which is her winking. Not sure how far, there it is. So I definitely like that pose for sure. And I think I like this a little bit better overall because of the fact that, oh, this actually moves. This isn't super stiff like I thought it was going to be. This side isn't, at least this side definitely is. But I think I like this a bit more just because it, especially with it not having like the big sort of, basically, this looks like a shield to me. Like, she's almost using her hair to shield herself. And, it's kind of flowing behind her. And then this version, much shorter. It's not her doing a move or anything, which would also be absolutely phenomenal. It's almost like her her wings a little bit. This is kind of like her normal stance, but makes me think of her wings just a little bit. But I like this one. I like this one a bit more because of the fact that it's not like, you know, it doesn't feel like just one giant piece sticking together, like with her hair, you know, kind of curved around with the other Amiibo. It's not the same thing. So I kind of like it for that. I actually think it looks a bit better because of it having, you know, less giant chunks of hair, and it has, you know, like the strands instead. So I think that looks pretty cool. Like I said, the pose is definitely interesting. It's basically, you know, a forward pose instead of the kind of left to right pose. It's kind of a back and forth sort of thing, so I think that's definitely pretty cool. And overall, I think this is actually a cooler pose because it is more of an action-based pose. The first one, I would say, probably fits. This one, with the overall tone, which is like, it basically satirizes like over-sexualized video game characters. That's kind of the point of the game, is to make fun of it, and it does it so much. So this one definitely fits more, but I actually like this one just because it's more action-oriented. So overall, I would say that this is actually my favorite, and maybe, you know, just with all the little details, and like I said, it's not like the big piece of hair on both sides. It's like, you know, little strands here and there, and in the front as well. So something about that just sticks out a little bit better to me. Like overall, I just think that looks a bit cooler. So I definitely like them both, without a doubt. This one, I noticed, does not have the random little joint issue with her arms or anything like that, like the other Amiibo did, with where you can like see through the arm and stuff, because it's not perfectly connected. Maybe I can just push that together. Like I said, I'll check out some other unboxing videos and see if anyone else has that issue. But I really like them both. I definitely think they're both very well done. I love the character, so I'm you know, I'm super happy that I definitely got them both. And I'll put you guys down a little bit further. I definitely think both of these are definitely worth a purchase. Of course, if you don't happen to have the money to get both at the same time, I would say go with this one. I think this one looks a little bit better. Like I said, the design of it, excuse me, kind of having, you know, like the little strands instead of like, you know, kind of the big swath. Like if I turn her, you know, it's just hair. You know, it's one of those things where it's like this one, I feel looks a bit better from any direction compared to this one where it's like, you know, you kind of, like backwards, it doesn't exactly look right. And, you know, kind of this way, it doesn't really. And maybe it's because this pose, I don't know, with her going forward, technically her forward is where you see the least amount. So maybe that's another part of it. Like, you know, this one, you know, they're polar opposites pretty much. Like her legs are, you know, her facing towards you, she's spread this way, you know, going out, and then this way, her facing towards you, she's kind of walking towards you. So I feel like that offers a bit different style to it. So, you know, with that being the case, you know, I feel like you get to see basically just a better image, you know, no matter what position this happens to be in. Backwards is weird. No matter what, I don't think anyone's going to have an Amiibo facing away from them. But I think you just get more options. Like this one, I think you could have turned sideways like this. It looks totally fine. I think that's cool. This way, I would say looks better, because this way you kind of just see your back mostly. But this way looks fine, and forward definitely looks good. But you can do it this way as well, and you just get that design, like, you know, just the way it looks. In this one, I feel you only get the one option of actually having it face towards you. And odds are, with them being Amiibo, you probably aren't going to be thinking of all of this anyway. But, you know, with this being an unboxing as well as, you know, kind of a review of the Amiibo, I just want to give those options, because even myself is like, everything I just talked about probably won't be an issue for me. She's going to face like this, and then this, you know, this one is going to face forward as well. Like, it won't make that much of a difference. But just with the fact that there are options, I would say go for this one if you can only get one of them. I just think it works a little bit better. It technically does have that option of being turned sideways, and you can look at it forwards for whatever odd reason. If you want to have her going away from you, sure, you can do that with either of them. And this one, like I said, I think just has, ultimately, there's more to look at, just more design to it, and this is kind of like, you know, big pieces, and, you know, that's kind of how it is. I still, like I said, still like them both for sure, because I just love Bayonetta in general. But if I had to pick one, I would definitely say the Bayonetta 2 Amiibo is cooler than the Bayonetta 1 Amiibo, but I definitely love them both. So I'm glad that they came out with both, and I think that's really cool. Not a ton of characters have this option, so, well, at least not that I've seen. I think this is kind of a new thing they're doing, because a lot of the DLC characters have it. Corrin, of course, you have the male version as well as the female version, both with the white outfits. I can't even think of his name. Cloud, I was like, all I could think of was Link for some reason. But Link has one as well, so he has his regular outfit, but he also has a Player 2 version, like Bayonetta does, and it's him in the Advent Children costume. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't expect them to do that for Cloud. With Corrin, I could kind of see that because technically the male version is like the first one, but I think everybody loves the female version way more because she just looks way cooler. So I think it's awesome that they did that for her, but I was kind of surprised to see it with Cloud. But it makes sense. I mean, just like with Bayonetta, two totally different costumes for two totally different games. In the case of Cloud, of course, one is being from the game, the other is from a film. But I like that idea. That seems to be something that they're kind of pushing out. I feel like that actually started with Splatoon when they brought out the second wave of the Amiibo for them with the different colors. But really like both of these. Like I said, of course, would love to know what you guys think of this Amiibo, this set of Amiibo for Bayonetta. Whether you know the character or not, would love to know how you guys feel about it. Which one you would choose. Would you go with Player 2, which is technically Bayonetta 1, or would you go with the Bayonetta 2 Amiibo? Like I said, of course, I would go with Bayonetta 2 just because of the fact that I like the design a bit more with the sort of open look to it compared to this one, and simply put, you know, like I said, the options, even though it's literally like one extra option that makes sense because no one's going to do this, and this just kind of looks a little bit weirder because, like I said, it's her back, but you can still, you know, get more out of that than, you know, if you see Bayonetta's back, that just looks really off. So, you know, it's totally personal preference, and some people might like the way she looks in Bayonetta 1 versus Bayonetta 2. Definitely for me, when I was going from Bayonetta 1 to Bayonetta 2, it was a weird change, but I definitely got over that as I played through the sequel. So it's one of those things, I'm totally used to this version now. I still love this version, for sure. Just as far as the Amiibo go, I definitely choose this. But like I said, we'll love to know which Amiibo you guys would choose out of the two of these, what you think about them, you know, in general, which one you prefer, which one you think could be a little different. Would love to know if you're, you know, a fan of Bayonetta, how would you change these up? Would you do, you know, maybe Wicked Weaves? I think that would be great if one of them was like one of her actual moves, if she was doing like the uppercut with the, you know, fist coming out of the ground. I would love it if they did that as an Amiibo, but then she'd have to be really shrunken down because otherwise it would have to be like a giant Amiibo. At that point, it should just be an actual figure. But that's just what I think of these. I love them both. I'm really happy that I got them. Gonna have to figure something out for the little arm deal there. It's not that big of a deal, but I'm always gonna think about it when I see it. But thanks for checking this out. Like I said, we'd love to read your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know which one you like, if you like both, if you like neither. And definitely let me know what other Amiibo are out there that you guys are looking forward to that haven't exactly come out just yet. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.